Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome I bid to everyone, and as well as our esteemed guests, Dr. Tanya and Dr. Zurahani. My name is Haifa, and I will be your moderator for tonight's program. Now, I would like to invite Brother Zikri for the Dua recitation.
Bismillah. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah bi'alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa rasulil karim. Wa maftah alayna hikmataka wa syur alayna min khaza'in rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. All praise and gratification we devote only to you, O Allah. You who have granted us blessing and grace, light and guidance, faith and help, peace and serenity, and this opportunity for us to gather today in the Internship Briefing Q&A session. We pray that you watch over this ceremony with your grace and mercy, O Allah. O Allah, the most forgiving, we pray that you grant us steadfastness in faith, enlightenment in knowledge and wisdom, bodily well-being and strength, benevolent and righteous character, and also the ease and facility for us to acquire knowledge that will be beneficial to the people around us and universally to the whole of mankind. And let it be a blessing for us in this world and the hereafter. O Allah, the most clement, the responder to our prayers. Once again, we pray in hope that you will make this ceremony into a ceremony bountiful of your blessing and mercy. Guide us in our pursuit of our aspirations, in fulfilling our duties, the hope and expectation of our family, religion and nation. Grant us our prayers, forgive us for our sins and also the sins of our parents and all those who believe in you. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وسلم والحمد لله العالمين.
Ameen, Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you, Brother Zikri. Also, thank you everyone for joining this program. For your information, this internship briefing is for those students who wish to begin their internship next semester or even the next semester. Of course, please welcome our head of department, Dr. Tanya, and our internship coordinator, Dr. Zurahani. They will explain and answer the questions that many of you are eager to know about your internship process. In order to commemorate this program, I would like to invite Dr. Tanya for the opening speech. Dr. Tanya, the floor is yours.
Just wait because Azan is ongoing right now. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay. All right, sorry, yeah, we were breaking for the Azan there. Dr. Zurahani has joined us. All right, Assalamualaikum everybody.
Salam. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay, I'm very
Just about to give
concerned.
my, just about to
Okay.
give the opening greetings. And again, I mean, I'd like to welcome everybody here, especially Dr. Zohani, who has kindly agreed to organize this session, which is, I think, it's going to be very beneficial for those of you who are going to pursue your internship in the coming semester 3 or even semester 1, for that matter. Some of you might be here. So we've organized this session particularly to address some of the queries that you may have, which, you know, for whatever reason, you may not have been able to put forward to us. And we've had a session like this previously where we had a very high turnout, about 150 students tried to get into the meeting, which actually exceeded the limit. So we hope that we will be able to address all of your queries satisfactorily. And we hope that you know, with a briefing like this, and we're also hoping to have another briefing later on, hopefully on campus and in person, just before you all go off on your internships. We hope that that will you know, clear up some of the insecurities and some of the questions that you may have pertaining to pursuing an internship. Internship is actually pretty straightforward. It's part of the graduation requirement that you have to undergo in order to get your degree. All students have to do an internship, and while we don't actually have a fixed semester in which you should do this internship, we encourage students to do the internship late in their years of study, ideally after they have finished all their courses. And there's a number of reasons for that, which I'm not going to get into right now because I want to get on with the program. So again, I'm glad to see that we've got so many guests here, and I hope that the message is going to trickle down to all the other students. I know we are also recording the session, so hopefully we can perhaps edit this recording and make it a bit shorter and post it on the Google Classroom for the internships. With that, hand it back to the MC for the next part of this session. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor, for the speech. On to the next agenda. I will be asking some common questions to our guests this evening. Doctor, you may answer each questions for 5 minutes, or because we have a bit of a tight schedule, but we only have two most common questions. I'm sure it'll be easy for you guys to answer. So the first questions will be, is there a list of companies that students often apply to? Moreover, are there any programs related to internships that students can participate in? Dr. Z or Dr. Tanya, you may answer this question.
I think let Dr. Zorani answer this one.
Okay, so Assalamualaikum everybody, Eid Mubarak, if you're still in the Raya mood. And I believe many of us are still in the Raya mood. We do not have a fixed list of the companies, but we do have a database that organizes all the different companies in the past that our students have applied to and have, you know, happily completed their internships at. So if you are interested in a particular company and you feel that, you know, you want to know a bit more about it, whether or not it has been you know, a company that was previously in our database, let us know. I'm not so sure whether we can actually publish that list, whether or not we need to, you know, go further, Dr. Tanya, with maybe classifying it for different reasons. We're not, you know, we have not reached that point yet, but we do have a database of a list of companies that our students have approached. Petronas seems to be a very popular choice, simply because it's a very well-established company, body or organization, and it also offers allowances, I think, pretty good as compared to some internship providers that actually do not provide any allowances. But that's not the point, really. The point is that, you know, if you feel that the industry suits you, if you feel like this is the kind of thing that you want to explore, okay, or if you have, you know, a certain a curiosity about the nature of the industry, that you want to learn a bit more about the trade and all, then by all means, choose whichever company that you think might work best for you. But it's really important that you do a little background check before you actually sign up for any company or approach any company. Sometimes students don't do that. They just go ahead and, pick any company, or they just go to an employment agency and ended up with all sorts of companies they don't know. They get channeled into duties and tasks that are not exactly suitable for internship students at Dell. Okay, so it's really important that you identify the potential internship providers, and then do a little background check, do a little research, ask your seniors, ask people, look at the company background, see if it's well established, it's reputable. So all these things are good signs of, a good place to go. All right. So if you do have any specific companies that you're keen to find out, let us know. We do have a list of um, government organizations and private companies that our students have gone to, and many of them, over at least the 2 years that I've seen the applications, many of them have gone to specific companies. I think it's because of the environment, the work environment, they like it very much, or it's the trade, or the nature of the internship training itself. All right, so let us know. Feel free anytime and mention the company, and I can do a quick check for you as to whether or not this, that particular company is a popular choice or not. Maybe Dr. Tanya wants to add a bit.
Yeah, I would like to add that actually, if you look at the Kuliah Internship Program booklet, there is, at the beginning of that booklet, there is one section which is an application form, which is actually something you are supposed to send in to the internship coordinator when you apply for your letters, what we would call a recommendation letter from the department. So if you'd like to join a particular company, what we need from you, and we need this is very important. Um, uh, if you need the approval letter, our support letter is at the same time also an approval letter. So we don't issue the letter if we don't approve of the company. Let's put it that way. And what we need from the students, and a lot of students forget this, and I'm going to actually emphasize this. What we need from the students is we need to have the full name and the full address of the company. When you apply for an approval letter, some companies don't require it. If they don't require it, you don't have to ask for it, right? But if you do need that approval letter from the department, make sure you give us the full name and address of the company. Without the full name and address, we cannot issue that letter. And make sure you get it right. This has been something that unfortunately Sister Nadira, who types the letters for us, she has no time to check whether the addresses are accurate, whether the names of the companies are accurate. Please make sure you get it right, because it has happened in the past that our student had contacted the company, she'd gone through like a preliminary interview, and the company asked for an approval letter, and then when she sent in the approval letter, she got their name wrong. Right, and that almost cost her the internship. So it makes a very bad impression if you get the name of the company, especially, right? If you get that wrong, or if you get the address wrong, some companies may take issue with that because you're trying to join them. You should know about them, right? And what Dr. Zrani says about doing your homework and checking out the companies, that's also another very important thing. We have had in the cases some issues with students not checking up on the company that they're actually joining, and then ending up in scam companies. This has happened more than once now, right? Because they found something on Facebook that looked interesting. Finding, and again, I would like to emphasize this, going through an employment agency. Please do not take a shortcut and go through an employment agency, because you do not know where they're actually going to send you. An employment agency is exactly that. They will, find a vacancy somewhere near your house or wherever you want to stay, and they will just channel you anywhere, and it may not be a valuable internship. So think about the field that you would like to go into, something that may be relevant to your degree. It may not be relevant, obviously, but sometimes our students go into things like admin. They want to work in executive positions later on. That's fine. right? It doesn't have to be anything particularly language related. A lot of our students, of course, go into fields where they have to do writing, like content writing, things like that. Editing, that is also something that's quite popular right now. I mean, but something that you would be able to do with your degree is ideal. Or if you have something in mind, some of us, we have something in mind. We you know, we've got people whose parents are in business, for example. They might want to join business. They may not want to have anything to do with you know, language or literature later on in life. That's fine as well. Then you might want to join a company that will train you to run your own business, so more administrative stuff. So yeah, any job actually can be turned into an internship, but think about adding value to your degree. And that's a very important point, because your internship should add value to your degree. If you go to an interview later on, a job interview, and they ask you about your internship, and it's something that, you know, doesn't hasn't taught you any new skills, hasn't enriched you in any way, like you know, selling, you know, Mary Brown fried chicken, for example, that's not going to help you a lot. You see, unless you plan to join that full time and you want to be a manager of a fast food restaurant, in that which case we have nothing against it, right? But think about what's going to add value to your degree. That's the most important thing. What do you want to do with your degree? Which direction are you headed? And a lot of students ask us why we discourage students from doing their internships at a university, doing their internships in a school. Very simple reason for this, actually. We want you to go out of your comfort zone. We try as much as possible to have students leave the university, because again, it goes back down to, you know, what are you going to do after you graduate? If you're going for a job interview, if you are, you know, if you are, you know, where have you done your internship, and what things have you learned in your internship? And if you've been at a university, um, what are you bringing with you to your new job, unless you're joining a university, right? So there's always exceptions, and we make exceptions for students who are international students who may have difficulty getting internships. We have made exceptions for students who had issues with you know, financial issues, housing issues. Yeah, so it's, we deal with these things on a case by case basis. But whatever it is, your internship should add value to your degree. That's the most important thing. So think about what you want to do after you graduate. What kind of field would you want to go into? And when you see those positions open, I mean, you know, people go look for jobs online nowadays. Then get that job. That's going to be most important to you. So please don't end up, you know, selling stickers and products house to house, you know, from mama shop to mama shop, because you're going to be a degree holder, and we hope that's not you're going to be a full-time job. Right. Any next question, perhaps? Would like to go on to the next one?
Okay, so that's a lot of information you shared to us, Doctor. Thank you. And now we are going to proceed with the second question. Are students allowed to have their internships internationally?
Dr. Z is nodding.
Yes. Yes, the answer to that is yes. We have had our student interns who are actually in their home country, where they are, you know, in Japan or China, and so on. And they have done their internships from their home country, which means abroad. But you can also, as a Malaysian in Malaysia, um, apply for internship in international companies. We've had students who went to PricewaterhouseCoopers, for example, and a few other international companies. And you know, if you want to widen your horizon and work with, you know, people from different countries, and this is really a great opportunity. If you can get hold of those opportunities, please go ahead and do so. So yes, you can apply to companies abroad, provided, again, of course, when you apply, that you provide all the necessary information so that we can actually verify those companies before you know, you can go ahead with the internship. Yeah.
And of course, bearing in mind the field that you're going on to, I think one of the most important things to bear in mind is that, especially if you're going to do an internship internationally, is that the company is in line with the university's identity. Yeah. So please don't join a beer brewery or a manufacturer of cigarettes or vape or something like that, because that will not be in line with what we do at the university.
Firearms.
Sorry, just firearms. No firearms,
Firearms.
please. Yeah. A student previously applied to do an internship at Genting Highlands theme park. Yeah, which
Continue.
on the surface doesn't seem like a big deal, except that we don't want to be associated with Genting. Obviously, they run a casino, so that's not desirable. So again, a little bit of research and a little bit of thinking is needed sometimes when you want to join a company.
So these are the two common questions that we often hear. But of course, this program would not be completed without a question and answer session from our own students. So, dear students, if you have any questions, you may click the hand raised icon before you unmute your mic. So, the Q&A session starts now, and you can, yeah, who's the first person who wants to do it? Go ahead. I see Nurul Wajida. Sister, you may unmute your mic.
Okay, can you hear me well?
Yeah, Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so I am currently in the middle of applying for a company, the Tabung Haji company, and the application is through their website. But there is a section which require the applicants to provide at least 2 referees from the company or our previous lecturers or etc. But who should we address in terms of referees?
Okay, if you'd like to hear an answer from me, Wajida, you can most definitely request me as one of your referees if you wish, seeing that it's an internship thing. But you can also approach your course section supervisor. So once you have registered for the course, and remember, guys, internship is manually registered, so there's no pre-registration involved, right? We don't have the system like other courses where we pre-register things and the things just magically appear in our course menu. All right. So first of all, you need to have a course section supervisor, and this only happens after you have received an offer letter and submitted the report for duty form. So in other words, you have actually commenced internship. And you can actually nominate your course section supervisor as well as your referee. And if you do have any lecturers that you are comfortable with, you know that they know you so well. For instance, if you have performed really well in some of the courses and you think that's going to add value to your credentials, then by all means, you do and you should list those referees as well. All right, so you do have options there, many options, of course.
Yep.
And there's Dr. Tanya.
Yep, Dr. Zurani is being the internship coordinator. She's one of the referees that you would like to name, I think. Generally, the rule when it comes to referees for anything, okay, whether it's now for the internships or later on, generally as a rule, whoever you name as a referee should know you well, should have
Yes.
ideally supervised you at work. So if you haven't worked before, then that will be your studies. So select a lecturer who knows you well, that you know that lecturer knows you personally, and get their permission. Yeah, please don't name someone as your referee and without telling them, because it has happened to me.
Yes, that's very important.
That someone from a company called me up and said, student XYZ is asking, it has named you as a referee. Can you tell me more about the student? And this is something like 5 years after the student graduated. I had no idea who they were anymore. I had to look through my old attendance sheets to kind of figure out whether the student was regular in my class and make something up, because I could not remember who the student was. So as a rule, what we usually do is choose someone who knows you well and approach them. Just tell them, look, I would like to use you as my referee. Is that okay? And it helps a lot, to tell you the truth, it helps a lot to give that person a little bit of, first of all, your CV, and a little bit of a write-up about you. Just talk about yourself, what you aim to be, what you're looking for, what kind of career, what your interests are, and a little bit of, what your own achievements are. Just a short paragraph. That helps a lot. So yeah, if you were to name me as your referee, I will definitely ask you to send me that. So that in the event, because the companies do sometimes call, in the event the company calls me and tells me, how does this student perform in group work or something like that? And if I can't remember who you are, I obviously cannot. I have to be very creative with my answer. Let's put it that way. Like
That will
goreng.
reflect good on you as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so make sure that your
Yeah.
referees know you. That's very
Yeah.
important.
That's right. Your referees have to know you quite well. So if you've worked before, you might have actually worked after school or something like that. That person can also be your referee if you're on good terms with them. And please do make sure you inform them. Yeah, make sure you inform
Yes,
your.
that's really important. At least do a courtesy call, just make a call and say,
Yeah.
is it all right?
Yeah. Just a
Yeah,
short
that's very
message.
important. Yeah.
Doctor, may I proceed with the next
Yes, please.
question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I see Sister Anissa Shohada. Sister Anissa?
Okay, Assalamualaikum, Doctor. So, okay, so at the first session, at the earlier session, you said that you should do internship when you have finished your courses. Okay, so I'm currently I still have another semester to go. So yeah, it might be a little bit redundant, but should I do after I finish the another semester, or should I just do it in the semester 3?
I think this is best answered by Dr. Tanya.
Okay. If you do your internship in a long semester after you have finished all your courses, obviously you're going to have to register for that semester and you're going to incur costs, right? Which is whereas in semester 3, you obviously, it's an optional semester, you don't incur that kind of cost. So in your case, it will be a cost issue. But the reason why we want students to ideally finish all of their courses is because a lot of companies treat internships as a way to scout for new talent. And they get very disappointed when students turn them down because they haven't finished all their courses yet. But that again, that has happened more than once, that a student performs very well and then the company would like to take them in and then they say, no, sorry, we have actually not finished that, we've still got like 1 semester or 2 semesters or even 2 years to go. We had one student do her internship in her second year, and the company will obviously not wait for you to finish your studies. They are looking for someone to fill in that position. So the disadvantage of doing your internship when you haven't finished all your courses is that you cannot take up a full-time offer from them if they do offer. However, in your case, I think I would try to do an internship in semester 3 because you try to avoid having additional costs. But I hope that answers your question.
Another person raised their hand. Siti Soleha.
Okay, I would like to ask, is it possible if our referee reference
Reference, both are usable. Yes. Yes, what about the reference or referee?
okay.
Okay, I
Sorry.
think
Okay, for
Still high mood, is it?
for the people to be someone from other university, for example, like lecturer from other university or previous boss.
yes, of course. It's all right. We must know you well. But try to have someone from try to have at least one referee from your current university.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
In fact, the referees, the referees report for other universities has been translated badly. It should be perujuk, right, or rujukan, and they translate it as pengadil. So I always imagine,
translation in.
yeah.
There are also universities that actually provide online referee forms where the nominated referees will have to go online and key in their responses or their evaluation of you. So, this is why Dr. Tanya says it's really important that your referee must know you, or at least provide some information about you, so that, when they are asked that, and sometimes it's by call, sometimes it's by an online form, sometimes by email, at least they're able to say something good about you, or at least say something that is consistent with what
Yes.
or how
And
you
something
are.
that will be informative for the workplace.
Yes.
Right, we've got questions coming up now. I think lots of questions coming up now.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have 3 hands are raising. So looking at the queue, that will be Sister Shafika Aina.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me?
Alhamdulillah. Yes.
Okay. Assalamualaikum, doctors. I have a couple of questions. First off is that usually when concerning internship, we have like a report that we have to submit by the end of the internship. So I was wondering if there was a cut-off date for the submission of the of the report. Yeah. That's my
Yes,
first question.
actually, there is a cut-off date, and we will usually inform you, once the semester has started. Yeah, because we need to have the report before the lecturers can submit the grades. So that we will usually inform you closer to that date. If we inform you too early, chances are you'll forget about it. We'll keep you updated. Yeah. Usually we expect students to submit the report within about a week after you finish. And that's usually the case. Unless the last date of your internship is very, very close to the date, I mean we have to submit the grades. That can happen as well. So in that case, we might actually give you fewer days. But generally, the rule is within 1 week of finishing, you should have written a report.
Yes. What you can do, if I may add, what you can do is gradually draft your internship report. So make notes of, the things that you've observed, the new skills that you've experienced, your thoughts, your reflections, useful information to do with the nature of the industry and things like that. And of course, definitely talk to your cross-section supervisor about the kind of information that they would like to see as well in the report. And then as you draft that slowly, when you approach the end of the semester, at least you will be having a daunting task of dealing with that and a pile of things to get validation from a supervisor. Because remember, at the end of the semester, you need to compile your internship documents. Okay, so your offer letter, the internship support letter if you have, all the other, documents to do with internship application, and then you have to submit your attendance sheets and the logbook, and then you've got your written report that you need to submit as well, and then you need to also think and organize, when you can actually approach your supervisor to provide the evaluation report and things like that, to alert them to actually directly email your cross-section supervisor and not you, because the evaluation report by your company supervisor is confidential. So there are a lot of things that will be happening at the end of the semester. It works, or it helps really, to just slowly draft your written report, right? Compile things here and there, and then just perfect it as you approach the end of the semester.
Just generally, the report that we expect you to submit is going to be about your experience, what your duties were, what you have learned, your experiences, and you can add in any photographs if you like, or if you want to have some visuals of things that you've done. All of that is you can put in your report. It's basically just to tell us what you were doing, because we want to make sure that you were actually doing something. right? Of course, you have
I
your
see.
daily, you have your daily logs, and your daily logs will tell us, that you have these are your duties every day. But we want to hear, like in a nutshell, what was the experience like, and you can even talk about bad experiences. That's fine because your workplace supervisor is not going to read that. That is solely for the lecturer, and if necessary, for the internship coordinator to read. So just as evidence actually that you've done your internship and what have you done for your internship. That's all. It's not a very extensive report. For my own section, I usually say 3 to 4 pages is enough. And
And
some
it's not a
students,
technical
yeah,
report
it's
either,
not a
so
technical
don't
report.
worry.
It's just really about your internship experience and whatever fun things that you'd like to put in, like as I said, pictures or any evidence that you'd like to attach. We've had one student who did her internship at the Star, and she had an extensive portfolio of the articles that she had written, and it was really good. I think very, very thorough. So it's up to you how much detail you want to give, but we want to hear from you what that internship was like. And of course, that will also help us to kind of blacklist companies where we feel that students are not learning much. If they're just cleaning out the storeroom and making coffee, that sort of thing.
I see. All right, thank you, Doctor. So basically, it's kind of like a journal.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but it doesn't have to be that expensive. It doesn't have to be long, really. Just in a nutshell, what was your internship like?
All right. So I have another question actually. Um,
Is that
uh,
cheating?
uh,
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
okay. So for example, I'm quite concerned about the duration of the internship and how um I'm afraid that it might clash with the graduation date. So I was wondering, like, for example, if I chose to start my internship in August, then for 12 weeks, it would probably end at the end of October. So what would happen if the date of the where the internship ends exceeds the date of the graduation? Would that affect anything, or would we still be able to graduate?
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing. Okay, so what I meant was, let's say I end my internship a bit later than graduation date. So would that affect my chances of graduating, or would that shouldn't be a concern?
Sorry, I think you're confused between graduation and convocation. You
Oh
cannot
yeah,
end later
convocation.
than you cannot. No way
They're
that
two
you can
different
end later
things.
than your graduation date because you cannot graduate without having finished your internship.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused. Yeah.
Okay. Convo this year, I think, is in November, I believe. But there is a cut-off date when names are sent to the committee for joining the convo. So I don't know when your internship will end. So I can't make promises to you. However, your internship will usually end well within the time if you start if you count those 12 weeks, because there is a cutoff date for us to end an internship, right? Within semester 3. So in order for you to actually complete an internship to count in semester 3, it will have to end no later than week 2 of semester 1, right?
Okay.
Okay, so if your internship is longer than that, let's say it takes longer than 4 weeks of semester 1, then we have to actually re-register you in semester 1. In which case, you will not be able to join the convocation for this year because your name can only be submitted together with the people who are finishing at the end of semester 1.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I hope that's clear. That's clear for you. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
it's very clear.
generally for semester 3, you should be able to join the list, right? Generally. But if your internship drags into semester 1 and you have to re-register for semester 1, then you're not going to make it.
I see. All right. Thank you, Doctor. That was very
Right.
clear.
Okay.
So thank you, Sister Shafika. And now I will invite Sister Nur Najah.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. First off, Assalamualaikum, and thank you to the organizers as well as the lecturers for attending tonight. My question is that will there be any estimation of time for the release of approval letter? Because some companies require us to submit internship application for like 3 months before the commencement of internship. So I'm a bit worried that I might um be left behind.
Okay. Before I think before I give the floor to Dr. Zurhani, if you look into the Kuliah Internship Program booklet, it actually says there that students are supposed to submit their request the latest by, I believe it's week 4 of the semester. So now we are entering week 9. So actually already pretty late, right? So I would suggest that you submit your request immediately. Yeah, and the request would be to fill out that form and to give the company name and address to Dr. Zurhani as soon as possible for approval.
The companies that, at least Petronas I know, is one of those who asked for 3 months in advance, and we have actually produced internship support letters for several students who have actually applied. We've received 2 more just recently over the holidays, so that should be processed very soon. But normally it'll take a few days. First of all, we need to have the office open and running. All right. So during Eid, it wasn't possible to do so. But so far, we've only received 8 applications, 6 we have processed and responded with the internship support letters. I think 5 out of 6 of the applications were for Petronas that did ask for 3 months in advance. So we've got 2 more that we're going to process either this week or early next week. But so far, I'm very surprised because, again, like as Dr. Tanya said, you should be already applying for your internship in the
You should have
first
already
4
started.
weeks of the semester. Yes.
And
So,
also just to remind, there are some government offices where you have to make your application through a portal, and for this kind of applications, usually an approval letter is necessary. So please, if you are going to apply for that, as soon as possible, pass the list to Dr. Zurhani for approval so that we can get those letters out for you, right? And remember, the letters are being issued by Sister Nadira. There's only one person there, and she will issue the letters only once either myself or Dr. Zurhani or Dr. Elina has approved. And we're going to approve those one by one. We have to look into them case by case. So if you're all going to send it at one particular time, we will go by priority, right? So the ones who need those letters urgently, we will issue those first. And usually the ones that need the letters urgently will inform us and let us know. Yeah. So if you need that letter urgently for whatever reason, say you have already received an offer. Some students receive an offer, and then the company tells them, can we get a letter from you? In which case, that's an urgent case. Please let Dr. Zurani know, or myself, right? And we will expedite the process for you. If it's for an application through a portal like Petronas, for example, or government offices, Petronas, we know they have the portal, so we know that we have to issue those as soon as possible. Any other portal, if you want to expedite the process and you want to get those letters quick, please send us just a screenshot of the portal to say, I'm trying to apply through this portal. I need to have this letter because it says so in this part of the portal. Yeah. So the students have done that. They've requested for urgent letters with evidence. Right? Other than that, you have to wait.
in any case, you need to fill up form number 1. Okay, so listen, there are 2 forms that the department has already prepared for you. Every semester, we release 2 forms. Form number 1 is for internship application, and that is where you include all your information, plus the companies that you wish to approach. So that list is going to be reviewed by the internship committee as well. And then there would be some space there for you to indicate which ones that you need internship support letter and whether it's urgent or not. So all that information needs to appear in form number 1. So once you've submitted it, then you will be alerted to that need that you have. And that's where Sister Nadira will be able to view and respond accordingly to the requests. So, and of course, the internship committee will be reviewing it, and me in particular will be communicating with Sister Nadira to alert her on the urgency of certain things. But yes, please do fill up form number 1. Make sure, because recently I got one where the person just mentions Petronas, no address, nothing, you know. So that's not good, because when we release the internship support letter, we need full information of the companies to the full address. Otherwise, it's not going to be a proper support letter. It is an approval letter. It needs to go to the right place. So make sure that your form is properly filled, all information complete, indicate the urgency of or the need for internship support letter for the companies that you are applying to. Maximum number of companies that you can apply to at any given time is 5. So there'll be 5 spaces for you to put, but you do not need 5 companies. Most of the time, students apply to only 1, and they just fine with 1, and you know it's a lot easier and faster that way. But it's really up to you. If all 5 fail, then obviously you will need to reapply again. But that's the maximum that you can apply at any one go. But when you apply, indicate which ones, which companies require the internship support letter, because it's not compulsory, right? Internship support letter is optional for only the companies that need those letters.
Yep.
So you need to tell us, otherwise, you know, Dr. Nadira will be overburdened with producing letters.
I think let me take the opportunity now to talk about our approval letter and why we are, you know,
Yes.
why we seem to be very sticky about it. We're not actually sticky about this. First of all, issuing those letters, you can just imagine. And in the year that we were under COVID restrictions and nobody could get to the office, I had to issue those letters personally because our secretary at the time didn't have a laptop and wasn't allowed to go to the office. And I issued no less than 194 letters at that time, personally, right? So it's a lot of work. And the idea is also this. Sometimes if things don't work out for you, not having an approval letter is actually a way out, right? So in cases, these are very exceptional cases. There have been cases where students had to pull out of an undesirable internship. They got their offer, everything seemed fine. They started the internship, and then within the first week of joining the company, things did not work out for very, very important reasons. This is not a case where the student says, "Oh, I don't like this internship. I don't want to do it." It's a case where the company is involved in something illegal. Right? They were asking students to forge signatures. They were asking students to give fake reviews of products. And obviously, our students, alhamdulillah, they are ethical. They don't want to take part in this. And they don't want to be involved in crime either, like forging signatures to get money from the government. That's obviously a crime. So they asked whether they can leave that internship, which, of course, we want them to leave. And what we did then was we found out that when the students took up the internship, they never asked for our approval letter because they didn't need it. The company didn't require it. So that was actually the reason why I then, as the head of department, wrote to the company saying I have stopped the students from doing the internship, supposedly because they did not seek formal approval. So that's actually a way out for students if things go bad, if things go wrong. So if you don't need that approval letter, if the company doesn't ask for it, do without it. Because you never know if they actually save you from being involved in something that's wrong or illegal or unethical, right? So since I have this opportunity to speak about unethical things, there have been a couple of companies that we have blacklisted for being involved, making their interns do unethical practices. And there has been one company that we have actually blacklisted because they do not provide training to the students. Right? They're not interested in training the interns. They are only interested in cheap labor. So at least one company that I can think of right now, I think there might be more. I think there might be 2 or 3 that we have blacklisted because they are basically taking in interns, paying them a very, very low amount of money as an allowance, but they expect job without actually training the students. Okay, we have some other questions.
May I add on a note on that as well? Don't feel pressured to obtain the internship support letter if you don't need it. There's a case where a student literally recreated the internship support letter thinking that she has to have it and she doesn't want to go through the waiting and all. So, and that led to the forgery of the head of department's signature and things like that, and became a very serious case at the Kuliah. So again, you know, this is not something to be something for you to be pressured about. So if the company really needs it, we can produce it. If not, don't worry about it. But do not attempt at all, or you know, respond to anyone who offers you an internship support letter. You know, like they could create it for you so that you can just attach it with your application. Because if you don't need it, you just don't need it. Okay, so that's one thing. Just avoid anything to do with unethical practices and also unethical companies. 2 of those together. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we have one last student raising her hand or their hand. Lizzie Yu. Lizzie Yu.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Doctor, so I have several questions, but I think you have just answered one of my questions. But I just want to confirm once more. So we get the approve from the department about the company we apply for via the Form 1, is it? By
submitting Form 1. Yes.
By submitting Form
when
1?
you submit Form 1, you list the companies, right? And we would be reviewing those companies. If we do have any objections, we will communicate with you. If we do not object to it, then you can proceed. So normally, you know, that will come in, you will hear from us maybe the first week or so of when you have submitted the form, right? First week or second week. But if there are any objections, you will hear from us. If you don't hear from us, then it's all right for you to just proceed. If you need a support letter, we will produce you the support letter and also indicate anything else if that it's necessary. Yes. So in general, you know, the companies that you apply to shouldn't be companies. I think if you have visited the Benel Google Classroom, I've shared a little handout for today. Okay, so just a summary of things, basic steps, basic information. And one of the sections, one of the slides will include a list of things that you want to avoid. As long as the company does not conflict with the values and principles and code of conduct of IUM, I think it should be all right. Teaching positions, as Dr. Tanya has mentioned, teaching positions, teacher, kindergarten teacher and all that, we want you to go out of your comfort zone. And also that falls under the specs of the education faculty. So maybe it's not very much a good thing to go to. So try out of that. And of course, there's a list of things like Dr. Tanya has mentioned, companies that are running illegally or doing scams, multi-level marketing, get rich quick scheme and all those things. As long as your company is all right, it's established, it's well known, you can verify and you've done your research and you know it's all right, chances are that when we look at those companies, there wouldn't be any objections to it. So you can actually, but you must provide us the list of the companies that you're approaching so that we can say something about it. So if you do not see anything against it, then chances are it should be okay for you to proceed.
All right.
So Form 1 is important, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we submit our Form 1. So before we apply for the company, right? Or after we receive the offer letter from the company? Before, right?
Ideally before.
I did before.
Right?
All right.
Because if you apply to a company that we will say no to, then it's not, that's double work, right?
Okay.
So do the planning, survey, identify your companies, the ones that you think will be good. You've done your research, list them down, and send in Form 1. If you don't hear from us within the same week, chances are it's okay. All right. If you ask for internship spot letters, we will respond as well within the few days that you've submitted. So, and even if it slips our mind, and say, for example, we did see or we overlooked the company, and say later on the company has issues, right? We've discovered there were issues with the company, and you have already applied. We will advise you again. We will advise you, what's appropriate for that company if there is a need for it. Okay, so don't worry if it passed the form number 1 stage and then you've already applied. Once you've gotten an offer or a call for an interview and such, let us know. And we will sort of advise if there's anything that is very concerning about those companies. We will, of course, look at each and every form. All right, the internship committee will actually review each and every form. So we will be aware of the list of companies that you have selected. Yeah.
All right. So just 2 more questions, but okay. So this question a bit more specific. So I was planning to go back to my home country for the internship, and I was thinking apply for a international trading company with a position as maybe a customer support, because they deal with the foreign customers. So is it okay, this position?
Sounds okay. Sounds good. Yeah. It's a trading company that's not doing anything that is, in the non-Islamic. So it should be all right.
Okay.
Yes, if it's trading, unless of course it's trading of firearms, bombs, alcohol, that kind of stuff, drugs. We don't want those, right? But trading, yeah, fine. Business, economy, all those basic general things to do with trade, that should be all right. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So last question about the offer letter from the company, because if I apply for the company in my country, maybe they'll provide me offer letter in Chinese, right? So do I need to ask them for English version or?
Yes, please. I wish I could read Mandarin and in Chinese, but I don't. So yes, please. Yeah, it would be
if they can provide in English, then please do.
Yes.
If not, if
Yes.
absolutely not possible, I think we can get someone to translate, but it's extra work for us.
Yeah.
The reason,
we can't
okay,
read between the lines,
yeah, and the reason why we want to have a copy of the letter, let me since we have everyone here, let me just say what the reason why we want to see your offer letter is your offer letter should tell you exactly what the position is, which is usually something intern, all right, and what your working hours are, and what your allowance, if there's any allowance, what your remuneration or what you're going to get paid. That should be stated in the offer letter, or whether there's any payments. Sometimes some companies go into more detail. They talk about how many days leave you're entitled to, whether you're entitled to medical benefits. But just for your information, because a lot of students ask us, you will be covered by IIUM's insurance while you are doing your internship. So in case a company asks whether you have insurance during the time that you're doing your internship, yes, you do. And some companies require a letter, which there is a particular letter that we actually can issue you to show that you are going to be covered by IIUM's insurance while you're doing your internship. So don't worry about that.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Insurance is covered on and off campus.
Yes.
Yes.
While you're a student.
As long as you are,
Right.
a student.
All right, that's all for.
Doctor, may I proceed with the next student?
Yes.
Sorry, brother. I thought you already finished. The internet here is quite slow. So I would like to invite Ilham Thuraya.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor. I would like to ask, I'm thinking to do my internship in the semester 3. So I read that the earliest we could start it as 24th of July during the semester break. And then I'm concerned about this because I would like to email the company, but I would love to know the end of my internship before
Okay,
I email.
all right. Actually, I'm glad you asked this question because here's the thing. If possible, unless the company expressly asks you for starting and end date, please do not specify dates. Okay, you can tell them the earliest date that you can start. All right, I am able to join you for an internship of at least 12 weeks. Very important, at least 12, because it can be longer than that. Beginning from, and give them the beginning date. Do not give them the end date, because what has happened is that some of our students have lost out on very, very lucrative internships because they specified dates, particular dates, and it doesn't suit the company, because some companies, different companies have different requirements. Some want to take all their interns in batches, so they want everyone to start on a particular day. Some companies want everyone to start at the beginning of the month. Some want everyone to start at least beginning, middle, or end of the month. Some companies don't care. Whenever you're available, they will take you, right? And the number of weeks is minimum of 12. Okay. Some companies prefer 14 or even 16 weeks. And especially like very prestigious internships, Maybank, Petronas, what's the other one that our students like to go for? A Settle. They may actually want the student to do longer than 12 weeks. And in that case, when you specify a particular date, you will definitely not get the internship because they already have their dates, right? So unless there's a specific need to indicate a duration, the starting and end date, just tell them it's minimum of 12 weeks and when's the earliest that you can start. Another thing is that students, for whatever reason, do not know how to calculate weeks, and they often miscalculate. So they the students start counting from day one, which is not the first week of your internship. Your first week of your internship ends at the end of that first week. So please look at the end date of the week. Don't look at the first date of the week. When you are born, you are 0 years old. You're not 1 year old. No, even though you've been in mommy's tummy for 9 months, you are not 1 year old, right? So you must start the following week. So a lot of students actually calculate the weeks wrongly. So because of that, I would prefer students to mention when they can start, the earliest date that they can start, and work it out with the company. When you go for the interview, for example, or they may even call you, they say that, okay, I can begin on this and this date, but I know from that date onwards, I'm free. And the internship has to be at least 12 weeks. That's all. If it's longer, it's okay, right? Um, minimum of 12 weeks, maximum of 6 months, right? If you want to do a long internship, Maybank has a very long internship, it's 6 months. If you want to do a good internship with a company like that, go ahead. What we will do then is, if it is a very, very long internship, 6 months, then we will register you for semester 1 and not semester 3. That will actually save you some registration fees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that was clear. I have
Alright.
another question. So I have another semester, like semester 1. So that's why I asked when do I end, because I calculated myself. So when you said that I calculate, maybe students calculated wrong. So I would like to know, uh, if the internship ends in the semester has started, the first semester has started.
Okay. You can take up to 2 weeks of semester 1. There is a form, I believe, that you have to fill in, which is a kind of a leave form. Okay, students are allowed to miss up to 2 weeks of classes if they are finishing up their internship. So that's the maximum, since you have courses to take, right? That's the maximum that you can take from the following semester. So there's a form for you to fill in. I think you probably get this form, Dr. Zarani, you have to correct me. Is it from the Office of PDAI, or is it from?
PDA.
Okay,
I think
from
PDA, yeah.
Our Deputy Dean of Academic and
IE
International
office,
Research.
yeah.
Dr. Aini
It's a form for
Masina.
late return to campus, right?
Yes,
Read,
yes.
study, yes,
That's
something like
that is also not. It's I think it's something to do. You have to check with the office. I can't remember what the form is called, but you can miss up to maximum 2 weeks of classes
yes.
for
And you
to
need to
finish
submit
up your
that form.
internship. Yeah, that
Yes.
has to be submitted. Ah, we have another question.
Hold on. I would like to inform the students. I'm aware that some of you guys are not able to write down your questions in the chat box. We do allow you guys to ask your questions in the WhatsApp group chat. You may ask your questions there, and I will read it out loud to Doctor. Sister Noalia Najwa, please go ahead.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I have a question. It is regarding doing internship in other education institutions than IIUM. It is not a company, but is it acceptable? So basically, the job scope maybe probably include any administrative works. Is that acceptable for internship?
Yeah, Dr. Z.
Should be all right. We've had students who did their internship in UM and UKM, and I think there's one at the Maritime University in Johor as well. So other education institutions, are you talking about higher learning institutions or as a
Yeah.
school teacher? Yeah, just administrative work, right? Or human
Okay.
resource or something like
It
that.
is.
Yeah.
It is not forbidden. All right. But like I said at the beginning, it's not something that will, if you go out after you graduate and you go to private companies and you've done your internship in a university, whether it's an
Another
administrative
university.
position,
Yeah.
let me tell you that it does not impress. Yeah, it does not impress future employers because they feel that you're playing it very safe. Unless your intention is to join that university later on after you have graduated, then it makes sense. Okay. So we discourage it for that reason, because when you go out after you graduate and you apply for a job and they interview you, where have you done your internship? I've done my internship in an admin position in another university. It's almost as if you didn't leave university. So it doesn't really add value to your degree. So if you want to do that admin work, go and find a private company to do it. It's the same job, but with a private company, and it just sounds a lot more adventurous and a lot more impressive.
Yes.
Think
Try a
about how
different
you're presenting.
environment.
Yes. Go leave your comfort zone. That's the whole idea. You should leave your comfort zone. And the reason, I mean, you must remember the reason why we have these internships. What's the reason why we have these internships is to give students a real life work experience. That was why this whole thing was started, because we found that when graduates start their first job, they have no clue about working, the working world, or how to conduct themselves in the working world. And there are some real shockers out there, when they go out there. Sometimes you'll be very surprised what students actually do when they've never worked before. So to minimize that shock, this whole internship process was started. And use that, because while you are an intern, there's a lot of excuses for you, right? A lot of things can be excused because you're an intern and you're still learning. Once you are a graduate and you actually join the working world, people are not going to be so nice to you if you make those same mistakes, because they say, oh well, you've done your internship, how come you didn't learn this, right? So I encourage you to leave your comfort zone, and if you want to work in an admin position, look for it at a private company. It doesn't matter what private company. I mean, yeah, well, it doesn't matter, but as long as they're not doing something illegal or unethical.
Yeah. That's really important, that one. Yeah. So the point is to widen the horizon, to open up your chances to try different things, different management styles and things like that, a different work environment. Different industries have their own work culture, so that's another thing. It's really interesting for you to try out different things. So if you are still within the education field, unless you want to later on, like Dr. Tanya said, join the education institution,
unless you have a preliminary offer from them, once you graduate, please join us.
Yeah.
Then that's a different story, right? And you can explain it easily to Dr. Z. Other than that, I would definitely discourage you, because it is not going to really strengthen your degree. You're going to disadvantage yourself. And once you have done your internship, you can't take it back. It will be with you forever. It's there in your transcript. And, when people ask you about it, there's no taking it back. So think about it wisely and use that opportunity, because like I said, people are willing to make excuses for you while you're an intern, which they will not when you have actually joined them, right? So just, be adventurous, go out there, find something. And the whole idea is actually to be adventurous. So um why we don't look for placement for our students is because we want you to do that on your own. We want you to have that confidence, to gain that confidence on your own, to apply for places. And you can also apply internationally. We've had students who have applied for companies that are based in Bangkok. They're Malaysian students, right? But they applied for companies that are based in Bangkok. They've applied for companies that are based in Singapore, and the Singapore companies, of course, they pay very well. Their allowance is higher than Petronas. And so, and
China,
yeah,
Japan.
the work is not as bad as what they do in Settle and Petronas, and it's not as challenging. But it's a worthwhile experience to work with an international company. So if you have that opportunity, please take it, grab it now. This is your best chance to go out there and and just leave your comfort zone.
Sister Alia, do you have any more questions?
No, it's clear. Thank you.
All right. So I would like to call upon Sister Nurtih Patricia.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor. So my name is Norte, and I would like to ask about Form 1, the Form 1, because I'm still a bit confused. So my question is, if I have already list of companies that I want to apply, but none of them request university letter, so should I fill up the Form 1 first before apply to the company, or
Yeah.
what?
We need to
Okay.
know who is going to, we need to have some, form number 1 is sort of like a little heads up for us to know who is going to sign up for internship in the coming semester.
Yeah.
So we're already planning there, how many sections we need to open for the semester and things like that. We need to find lecturers to handle those different sections and all. So by submitting Form 1, you are, first of all, providing the list of companies for us to review, for us to alert you if there are any problems at all. Okay, and also for us to know that you are coming in next semester, and that we are, looking at the head count to know how many sections we need to open and manage in the coming semester. So form number 1 is important. So even if you find that you're already in the position close to filling up form number 2, also submit form number 1. Okay, it also collects a lot of information about the student.
I see,
So we need
because
that.
Doctor, because I already filled the form for Petronas a few weeks ago, and
Yeah.
then last week I applied for Maxis, but I didn't request the form, so I should request it.
Do you need an
today, yeah.
internship support letter there? Do you need an internship support letter for Maxis?
No.
No. Okay,
Yeah.
but you will need to inform us. So what you do is
Okay.
just send in an updated form 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank
So
you,
this is
Doctor.
what I would, yeah, most welcome. This is what I'd suggest all of you do, is to, first of all, do the survey, identify the companies you want to approach. And then, one shot, you can go up to 5 and list them down. That way it saves you time from, again, coming back and forth with the application. All right, so that's really important, the planning stage. All right, and do it soon,
Yep.
You don't need too long to do that. Just do quick research one day, in a few hours, you already have, you'll know in your heart what you're leading towards. Okay, and then just go for it. All right, and then put in the form, and best to just try to minimize the back and forth movement when it comes to the application, if you can help it. We do, of course, receive occasionally, after a couple of weeks, student coming back and say, we've applied everything, I've applied to 5-10 companies and nobody says yes to me. Now, if that happens to you, all right, please talk to us, because the department will try to find a way to help you, with the internship application, or at least give you suggestions as to how to manage it so that you can make it for semester 3. Okay, so if anybody, and this is not just for Norte, anybody, because I think Norte has already decided on certain companies. Anyone finds that they could not get an application after all the attempts, and you really need to attempt, all right? You really need to apply. You just say nobody wants me and you didn't apply. So, and after all that, you're still not getting a place. Please, please, please talk to us as soon as possible so that the department can, suggest a couple of things, some companies or options for you to try out. Okay, it's really important that we know about it. Always keep in touch with us if you need any help. All right. Hope that answers your question, Nurti.
Yes, that's very
yeah,
clear, Doctor. Thank you.
Okay, no worries.
Okay. Are there any more questions? Anyone want to ask? I see. Sister Hesa Kausa, please go ahead.
Yes, Assalamualaikum. My name is Hisa. So I would like to ask question regarding the internship date. So for example, if some students, they might have finished their assignments and final examinations earlier. So can they start the internship right away? Because in my case, I have another semester. So if possible, I will not want the internship to take up the next semester. Yeah, so can they start the internship right away?
Okay, I think this is best answered by our HOD.
Yes. You can start as soon as you finish your last exam. So if you have a particular exam date that you have, just the main thing is communicate with Dr. Zurani and let her know that you need to start on the day out. You can start on the day after your final exam. That will be the first date that you can actually start. Yeah. So we just need to verify that that's your actual last date. The reason why we don't want you to start before your exam period is over, two reasons. Obviously, we don't want to mess up your exam, and also companies will expect students to pay full attention to the internship. So there are no companies out there who will say, "Oh, never mind, you can do your exam and take some classes." A very, very, I think, exceptional company that if they allow that, yeah, because they want you to focus 100% on your internship once you join them for that. Treat it as a job because it is a job. Yeah? So you can start the day after your last exam.
We've had cases of students who didn't finish the final chapters of the FYP, and then decided to just proceed with their internship without consulting us. And then halfway through, we found out that they have not completed the chapters, and therefore, that there are a lot of things that are still pending with the work. So the students had to postpone the internship and return back to campus to finish the FYP first. And once they've submitted only, then they could be allowed to resume internship.
Yeah.
So please
because
don't put
especially
yourself in that
FYP,
situation.
especially FYP, because we can only allow you to actually extend your FYP. But if you want to start your internship anyway, then we'll have no choice but to fail you for the FYP. So that's a real pity. So if the student had kind of like informed us earlier that they still hadn't finished, we would have negotiated with the company, to start the internship a bit later, just because they had a couple more weeks that they needed to finish up the FYP. Yeah, so hopefully that won't happen. I hope it won't happen to any of the students here. But yeah, it has happened that a student could not finish their FYP in time. Well, okay. Just notice the time.
Thank you, Sister Hisa. Yeah, it's almost 10. Is there any more questions? Anyone else? I see that in the group chat, they're just asking about Google Classrooms. Don't worry, regarding the video, the program that we're having right now, it's recorded. So we will post it on the Elite's YouTube. In case you're missing anything, you can refer back to it. Doctor, now it's almost 10. Would you like me to end this, or Do you have anything to?
Yeah, Dr. Zurhani might want to have some reminders for the students.
Oh, for those who are still wondering what to do, and I get this random question sometimes. What am I supposed to do actually? Okay, start with form number 1. And I'm so glad that Elit's actually mentioned that please read form number 1 before you come forward, because everything is in there. But, all right, if you find that a bit too much to read to begin with, I've also provided you a handout today. You can look for it in the Benno Internship Google Classroom. These are just slides. The last time I created a little sort of like infographic, with this time slides updated. And then, you know, there are just little steps of what to do. All right, so please go and follow through those things and then go to the form to find more information. I think the form number 1 and also form number 2, but form number 1 in particular, had all the raised all the important things that were coming from queries from students in the past 2 years. And I thought that's really important that I answer those questions there and raise those concerns there, so that, you know, at least you have a guideline as to things to do or what not to do, right? So they are all there. And then remember, you have 2 forms. You must fill up 2 forms. Form number 1 is to apply for internship, and this would be the form that you submit the list of companies and the details of yourself, and we would review those companies and advise if there's anything that needs to be advised, or produce internship support letters if you want them. And then, of course, the second one, which is form number 2, and that's only going to be processed if you have received an offer letter and if you have commenced or started internship already. So there's a form in the KIP booklet that you have to download that says report for duty form. Do not sign or fill out that form a week or 2 before your internship starts. And do not do that way later. You need to do it on the day you literally physically appear at the office on your first day of work. Okay, so that's, and it needs to be aligned with your offer letter. So say, for example, if you are supposed to start on the, 5th of July, for example, but you sign in, say, 20th July, there's a problem somewhere. So there'll be a query, and then, it'll delay the processing of your course registration. So make sure that what's in your offer letter is aligned with what's in the report for duty form, and that you report for duty on the day you're supposed to report for duty. Okay, and make sure all those documents, the 2 documents, the offer letter and the report for duty form, have been signed. It's got an official stamp in it. I've had 1 or 2 cases where students provide, and it's kind of like a casual email that says you're accepted. We had to bounce back that application because we needed a proper offer letter that has a, letterhead and things like that, an official stamp, a signature, the person who's going to supervise you and things like that. Those things are really important. Now, one more thing on that one. Sometimes companies will say, we don't make offer letters. Can we get a reply form? So, and this happens a lot, Some companies, they don't produce offer letters, rather that they fill up a form and they just return it to us. So if you can negotiate for an offer letter, because the offer letter is your protection, right? It provides you all the specs of what is expected of you, what's offered to you. And if you don't have those details, you're going to miss or lose a lot, right? So important for you to approach companies that are well established, that are able to produce offer letters. There's one student who actually had to help draft the offer letter because the company doesn't want to do it. So try to be very selective with the companies that you approach. Okay, so form 2 is where you apply to register for ENGL 4995 or 4996. Without the offer letter and the report for duty form, you cannot submit form number 2. So as soon as you resume internship, send that in. It's online. You send it in, and the department will have a look at it, verify all your documents, and then register you into the course. And you'll see your course appearing in iMatlum soon after form number 1 is processed. But make sure that you do all the necessary to complete form number 2 as well, and make sure that everything is there uploaded. Okay, there are times when we receive the form number 2, but there was no offer letter in it, there was no report for duty form, just form number 2. So that's not going to work, right? We can't process it. So make sure that everything is in order. And once you are registered for the course, we'll have your course section supervisor follow or stay connected to your course section supervisor for all the details and advice throughout your internship. Okay, so even if you ask me some questions, I will refer back to your course section supervisor. All right, I will not override the duty of the course section supervisor because they should be in very close contact with you, supervising you all the way towards completion. So only, get to the department or to myself if there's something really difficult to handle and that your course section supervisor advised you to discuss things with the department. Okay, so once you have your course section supervisor, that's your go-to person. Okay, and stay in touch with your company supervisor as well. Don't be shy to communicate, ask for help, ask for explanation. All right, make friends in the company, all right, and get used to do something new, learn something new, and don't hesitate. Don't keep things to yourself. If you're not sure of something, ask for guidance. That's your chance to learn the trade, wherever it is that you are attached to. So remember, form number 1, form number 2. Form number 1 for internship application at Dell. Form number 2 for course registration. Okay, and we'll process that when everything is in order, and then that will mean that you will be officially registered. Now, don't worry about the date of the course registration via form number 2, because your internship is going to be counted based on your offer letter, not when you actually submit form number 2 or when you get response from form number 2. Right, we are still going to follow your offer letter. Okay, I hope that's okay. That's clear. Yeah. What else? Yes. One more thing.
Doctor.
Yeah.
I have one more questions. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I have one more questions from the group chat. It says, is it possible to get the list of companies that Doctor mentioned earlier? I remember during the first question, Doctor said there's a database of students, previous students' internships.
That's 2 years worth of database of students' applications. So the first half of the year, we didn't actually manage to organize things because all applications were via email. Then after that, we managed to organize the information, and that's where we get the list. So I can't really say we can release the entire list because it does need a bit of vetting. I think the internship committee needs to go through the list to see what's, going to be considered recommended and the ones that we want to sort of like put on the site for not recommended. So that's going to take a bit of filtering. All right, but to make things more efficient, I think it's best for you to sort of like just provide a list of the companies that you are curious about, and I could quickly check with the department to see whether those companies are okay. Yeah, I think that if it works, I think more efficiently the other way around. Until we have established the list of companies to recommend, that's going to take some meetings, maybe it's best to work on it the other way around.
But I also don't want to, the problem with putting out a list like that is that students then get less adventurous and might be passing up on
and just go there.
Yeah, a lot of interesting jobs and interesting companies. So my best advice would be for you to look for internships, see what internships you are suitable for, what interests you, the fields that interest you, and look for established companies, like quite big companies or companies that have been around for a long time. And of course, the larger companies are more likely to have a structured internship program. So if if
Yes.
you're thinking in terms of training, the value of training, usually it's the larger companies that have, they've actually thought about this. They actually have modules and stuff like that.
They have a
So
support system,
yes,
all those
they
things.
have all.
Yes.
So it's usually advisable, I think, to go for the larger companies because they just have a structured internship system. I think Hi-Fi is frozen.
Any more questions? Just now I saw Alicia Jeffrey, but looks like she already lowered her hand.
She can ask
It's
again.
already 10. Yeah, she can ask again. Sister Alicia, if you have any question, you can unmute your mic.
Okay. So I would like to ask regarding the FYP. I'm currently doing FYP 1, so I can apply for internship for semester 3.
Yes, but please finish your FYP 1 on time because there's no extension for FYP 1. Cannot complete FYP 1 on time. Unfortunately, there is no in progress or incomplete grade for FYP 1. It's literally you either pass it or you fail it. As in you get the grade or you don't get a grade at all. So please don't miss your FYP 1. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
I think there's something that maybe I'd like to mention because I think we're probably wrapping up now, and a question that nobody's asking, but I think everybody actually wants to ask us, forgot about it. So sometimes students ask me, is it possible to fail internships? Yes, it is. You can fail, and the quickest and easiest way to fail an internship is not to turn up at the workplace when you are supposed to. Automatic fail if you do not report for duty when you are supposed to report for duty without the approval of the company and without the knowledge of the internship coordinator. So if whatever reason you need to defer the date, or like for example mention FYP, if you have to somehow or other change the date, you need to negotiate with the company. They will not be happy about renegotiating dates. I'm going to tell you that nobody, they're expecting you to come in on a certain date, and if you can't, they will not be happy about it, I can tell you. But you can try if it's a valid, if you have a very valid reason, like health reasons. If you've had an accident, obviously the company is not going to hold that against you. But whatever you do, you need to negotiate with the company. If you don't turn up when you're supposed to turn up, that's the quickest way to fail an internship. You can also fail an internship if you get an unsatisfactory report from your immediate supervisor. And students will get an unsatisfactory report if they have poor attendance, frequent late coming, tardiness, and of course unsatisfactory work quality. That has happened. Or if they actually get terminated while the internship is ongoing, meaning that they're not completing. So in those cases, yes, students will fail an internship. So it is possible to fail. Having said that, it is also much easier to pass because an internship is only a pass and fail grade. And if you hang in there, I know sometimes some companies, they give you tough love, right? Yeah, hang in there and and deal with it. It's a training experience. Just think you are a trainee, right? Internship means you are a trainee. Allow yourself to be trained. Have an open mind. Be receptive to comments. Don't take it personally. These people, they want to train you. They want to make you the best, whatever it is. Don't get too upset about, put it this way: if nobody tells you early on that you're making a mistake, they have to point out your mistakes because you're still learning. But if they don't tell you early on, then you will continue making those mistakes, and it will be worse for you as time goes by. So have an open mind, allow yourself to be trained, absorb as much as you can from the workplace, and you'll be fine. I can quite certainly say you will be fine.
Be willing to unlearn and relearn as well. Sometimes there's certain things that we have to unlearn. We're so used to a certain way, and it doesn't seem to work with the team or the company. Then be prepared and be willing to unlearn.
There are two types of companies out there. there are companies that, they will continue along the lines of what we do at university. We tend to baby you a bit, and you're like, oh, it's all right. We'll give you positive reinforcement. And there are companies that are going to do the opposite way and just give you tough love, until the final date. But they all mean well. Yeah, generally, companies that take interns, they want to train you. That's the main thing. Okay, I have said.
Don't freak out too early, too early on.
Yeah,
All right, that's very important. No, the first week you go like, oh my God, can I change? Okay, so this is one thing I need to bring up. Do not attempt to switch or hop on from one company to the next just for the sake of wanting a better or a more, favorable environment. You are not allowed to do that. Once you've signed your acceptance of the company, you need to honor that agreement. So before you sign, make sure, oh, can I commute to this place? Is it too far from where I am? Is this the kind of environment that I would love to be? I want to spend my 12 weeks, or is it something else? Or, be sure of your choices before you actually sign. Don't just sign anything. All right. Once you've agreed, you must honor that agreement. We have a case of a student who's just hopped to another company, and this other company has actually done so much to accommodate her and to actually put aside other applicants for this person. Had very high hopes, very positive, really good expectations, and then suddenly just the person just decides, I don't want to be in here, I want to go to another one, just like that on the first day of work, something like that. So don't do that.
The day
The
before.
day before, yes, the day before. And the interviewers had to fly into the company to interview. That so much work was done to choose, to select you. So you have to appreciate that when you're selected, they want you, they want to train you. Right. So honor that, have professional accountability.
And I think the other thing is, coming from IIUM, we have that word Islamic in the name of our university. Be in mind, carry yourself in an Islamic way. If you make a promise, honor it. And of course, dress code. Yeah, please adhere to the Islamic dress code even while you're doing your internship. You represent us. And I have bad news for you. From now until the end of your time, once you have graduated from IIUM, you will forever represent us. Something that you cannot undo. Unfortunately, you'll be stuck with that identity. IIUM is printed on your forehead. Okay, shall we wrap up then, Haifa?
Of course, of course. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Tanya. Thank you so much, Dr. Zurahani, for taking the time and giving us so many insights, so many things. And I'm pretty sure students would need to sit down and think through with all the information given. So yes, thank you so much. And also thank you so much to all students who joined this program. You guys have made this program a success. And then please do not forget to fill in the feedback form. We highly appreciate your response. And before we proceed further, let us turn on our camera and smile for a short photography session. So, Alia, are you ready? Okay.
Okay, 1, 2. Right, done.
Okay.
Okay, Alhamdulillah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we already took the photo shoot. Okay, so thank you so much. And may this program ease your process to apply for your internship. I hope you guys don't get lost. And we will end our program with Tasbih, Kifara, and Surah Al-As. All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good night.